Students, in this video we are going to explain how you should do qualitative analysis during your experimental paper, that is practical paper of AS, that is 9701 33 or 34. So I will explain with the help of PPTs and suitable values. Okay, if you see for qualitative analysis, what he's saying in this PPT, many learners lose marks by failing to be sufficiently accurate with their qualitative analysis. What are the common mistakes? We will discuss it in the video. Okay, what are these? If you see, as an example of this, we are going to consider how should learner describe a precipitate. Actually, in this video, we would explain how to explain precipitate formation during exam. Okay, what is this explanation? I will explain this with the help of this statement. What is this statement again? Sorry. Yes. What is this statement? If you see in this statement, there is written, it turns yellow. Normally, students what do? They just write, it turns yellow. Okay. What is a mistake? What is the mistake in this? We will see in next PPT. This the liquid turns yellow. This does not tell examiner that a solution has been formed or that a precipitate has dissolved. What is formed during this? What turns yellow? That is, solution turns yellow, or a precipitate is formed which has a color yellow. Means if precipitate is formed, then very suitable answer is a yellow precipitate is formed. This is very obvious. When we say precipitate, this means a solid is settled down in the solution. Okay. Now, if solution turns yellow, then we should very clearly explain it. This does not tell this. Again, if you see this, what he is saying in this, that is what is there. This does not tell the examiner that a solution has been formed or that a precipitate has dissolved. What is formed? If there were a precipitate, after dissolving this precipitate, yellow solution is formed. If there are two colorless solutions, you are mixing these two solutions, and in the result, a yellow precipitate is formed. You have to explain that a yellow precipitate is formed. Means your explanation should very much clear what you are going to explain or what you want to explain in your explanation. Okay, in this, if you see what he is saying, what is the mistake? A clear solution was observed and some solid was left. What is the meaning of this? This is a meaningless. A clear solution was observed and some solid was left. From where some solid was left? Is any other solid or the solid which was earlier dissolved? To explain this, what you have to say, we will see this in this PPT. In this PPT, you will see what is written. And this does not tell that examiner that the solution was colorless nor that the solid had dissolved. Means a student should explain that earlier it was solid and later this solid dissolved. Out of this solid, some solid left. Okay, and after this, I would like to see if what is next. Okay, yes, this is very important. What is this? The reaction went white and precipitate form. Remember, reaction is not a physical or tangible thing that you can describe. Reaction, after reaction, a white precipitate is formed and a colorless solution is there. The reaction went white. Probably what student want to say that if there is a precipitate in the burette or sorry, in the test tube or in the boiling tube, this precipitate will settle down and above this precipitate there is a colorless solution. Actually, for this colorless solution, he is writing went white. Remember, white is a color. If a clear solution, then you have to say colorless solution. And if there is some precipitate or some solid which is settled down, for solid which is settled down, we have to use word precipitate. So we should clearly explain white precipitate form, and above this precipitate there is colorless solution. Even if you don't want to write that above it, you just say a colorless solution and a white precipitate is formed. Means white precipitate means a solid which is settled down. Okay. Hopefully you understand it. And next very important point, whenever you are going to heat any solid or any liquid, you should use boiling tube. You should use boiling tube. Remember it. When if you want to heat a solid or a liquid, you should use boiling tube instead of test tube. For qualitative analysis or identification of ions, you have to use or you can use test tube. Here I would like to show you. In this way you can hang must, this is necessary that you should use two litmus paper, that is red litmus paper and blue litmus paper on boiling tube. That is, if suppose there are nitrate ions or ammonium ions. If ammonium ions are heated, a solution which is containing ammonium ions, NH4 positive ions, with the help after adding sodium hydroxide and aluminium powder, a bubble of gas will release, and this gas turns red litmus paper blue. Means you cannot identify gases with the help of smell or with anything. You have to observe gases with suitable test for the nature, that is whether this is acidic or with alkaline. What you have to use, you have to use litmus paper. Means your litmus paper should stick with the walls of the test tube or boiling tube. And these remember what we use, moist red litmus paper, that you can moist your litmus paper that you are going to hang on the walls of boiling tube. You can moist them with distilled water. Remember, moist them with distilled water, not with tap water. Distilled water will be provided by you during exam. Excess distilled water is provided you. So hopefully you understand. And if he is saying gentle heat, what is the meaning of gentle heat? Gentle heat mean the bottom of the boiling tube is not touch the flame, it is above the flame. And while he's saying, if he's saying after gentle heat, heat it strongly, means the bottom of the boiling tube should touch the flame. While you are heating, precautionary, your boiling tube mouth should be away from your nose, so that any poisonous or toxic or corrosive gases should not enter. Your precaution should be necessary during practical. Hope you understand how you will explain precipitate, how you will do any heating. And lastly, dear students, whatever you observe, means if there is a solid, it changes into liquid, you will say solid melts. Solid melts, changes into liquid. If you are heating solid, don't say dissolve. You are you didn't add any liquid. Dissolve mean it dissolve in a liquid. If it change from solid to liquid in the result of heating, means it melts. And after melting, it may produce some moist liquids, some vapors which may condense on the walls of the boiling tube or test tube. You can say, if you see cloudy area or droplets on the boiling tube, what other observation you can give during your exam? The other observation is that a condensation on the walls of the vapors. If a colorless fumes are emitting from the boiling tube or test tube, you have to say colorless, or if colored, for example brown in case of nitrogen dioxide, you can say colored fumes are produced. No need to say, or no need to give the identification or name of any gas or vapors, uh, you just remember, if he is asking, write your observation, means observation, not identification. And after your observation, he will ask, what you identify, name the chemical, name the ions after your identification. And remember, if he is asking ions, for example, he's asking which ions is there. For example, if there is magnesium ion, if you write magnesium, this is not enough. You have to write Mg2 positive. If there is identification of bromide ion, this is not enough. This is wrong. If you write Br or bromine, you have to write Br negative, bromide ion. Means charge of the ion should be depicted during your exam or in your exam paper. Hopefully, precipitate description, heating during qualitative analysis, and while you have identified the positive cations, for to identify cations, you know that you have to use aqueous sodium hydroxide and aqueous ammonia in most cases. And for anions, you have to use suitable reagents. And for anions, remember, to identify anions, first we have to add nitric acid. Why there is need to add nitric acid? Nitric acid destroy any carbonate, because chances of carbonate ions in the solutions are very much. Any solution may contain carbonate ions, and these carbonate ions may cause white precipitate. As from the knowledge of O level, you know that most carbonates are insoluble and they will give precipitate. So to destroy any carbonate, we should add nitric acid while we are going to identify anions, for the identification of anions. Or otherwise, it is explained in qualitative analysis. There are 2 or 3 pages at the back of your exam paper. At the back of exam paper, there is also attach of product table you can use if there is any need. Hope you are clear with it. In my next video, I will explain energy changes, how energy changes calculations or readings should be taken, what is the minimum count of thermometer. We will see this in our next video. Hope it is clear. If you have any question, you may contact, you may ask. Thank you.